I was living in New York City and was working at the Bowery Renewal Center and was running a yoga and art program in the detox center. And during the program, it ended up being the longest running time of no violence in the unit since 1992. Yeah, yoga was moving in a different direction. Whereas dance was about expressing out, yoga was about exploring inwards. It just felt amazing. It felt so good to practice feeling good inside of your skin, where I think there's a lot of the world that tells you not to. So it felt a little bit rebellious by nature. Hi, my name is Devyna. I have been practicing yoga since high school, so 15 years ago. I became a teacher just over 10 years ago and have been developing an understanding of the body and this ancient practice and how it relates to our present day lives since then. My background is actually in dance. I pursued ballet for years and through university. The body as an instrument has been relevant to me since I was 3 years old. And yoga was a natural progression to integrate a rehabilitative element to physical movement and something that was restorative and regenerative equally as it was a strengthening. Yeah, yoga was moving in a different direction. Whereas dance was about expressing out, yoga was about exploring inwards. And having those two in balance made me a better mover, made me a better human, and definitely made me a better dancer as well. There were two, I'd say, key elements that had me continue to gravitate towards the yoga practice. One was absolutely the community. The people that I met inside of the yoga community were really, truly stellar humans. And it wasn't about ability or body shape or size. It really was about a curiosity of what was happening inside you and, how you could enjoy that process more and more. And then secondly it just felt amazing. It felt so good to practice feeling good inside of your skin, where I think there's a lot of the world that tells you not to. So it felt a little bit rebellious by nature. Well, I think that's the case with whenever you find a good thing. You find a good restaurant, you find a great line of sneakers, and you kind of want to tell everybody about it because it has enhanced the quality of your life so much that you want it to spill over into everyone else's too. After performing and dancing at a really high level, stepping away from that was really hard mentally and emotionally to not have that physical source of expression and practice. And I definitely went through a couple of seasons of struggling with my mental health because of that. And the yoga practice was something that could really meet me where I was at, whether or not I was, low and struggling, or if I was glad and excited. There was no place that I could be that yoga couldn't meet me at. And so it became a real lifeline and continues to be a real lifeline when life is challenging and when your confidence is low or when you're confused. Yoga is absolutely the most important line that I have to hold on to remind me to keep on reaching towards life. I've been running yoga programs in different environments for definitely the past 8 years, everywhere from corrective centers to rehab centers and schools. And the effects are immediate. Honestly, the physical relief is natural. So many people spend most of their time kind of clenched up like this. And so honestly, even just the cue back towards your breath and relaxing your shoulders naturally kind of makes people feel a little bit better. But in a kind of more institutional setting, I was living in New York City and was working at the Bowery Renewal Center and was running a yoga and art program in the detox center. And during the program, it ended up being the longest running time of no violence in the unit since like 1992. And, I had done a couple of trainings with yoga behind bars, which was offering yoga to incarcerated populations as well, just because the evidence of healing and of maintaining balance in such charged and oppressive environments offered people a sense of peace and ease that made managing hard situations easier. We've been running these 6-week series, Mobilize Through Yoga, at White Lion Strong Gym for the past couple of months. And they have been like a 6-week progressive course. Each week is a different element that we focus on. This most recent series and the inspiration for the workshop happening on November 8th was core elements of your nervous system and how you can practice these core elements of your nervous system inside of a yoga practice. So each week we would take on one of the concepts and we would both speak about it, kind of digest it both in mind and also in body, in the hopes that by the end of the series, you would have a stronger ability to identify when you and your nervous system were in a regulated state versus a dysregulated state. And I could go on about regulation and dysregulation, but I'd love for you to come to the workshop and I can give you the real nitty gritty. Yeah. So I'd love to just give you a little bit of a framework for what those 2 hours are going to look like. So usually in the classroom setting, it's 75 minutes of kind of active practice. But in this 2-hour setting, it's going to be a little bit more conversation and then practice. So we'll talk for about 10 to 15 minutes and then we'll practice, do a little yoga sequence for 10 to 15 minutes. And when I say a yoga sequence, I mean that we'll practice 2 or 3 yoga postures, so shapes or forms that you position your physical body in so that we can practice the concept as an embodied idea rather than just a cerebral one. The 4 key concepts that we'll be covering during this series is going to be regulation, resonance, resilience, rhythm. And these 4 elements being kind of essential concepts inside of understanding your nervous system, which is that amazing webbing communication system that stretches through your entire body. Through my years of practice, I've come to understand yoga as your own growing awareness. Your own growing awareness because it's completely and totally unique to you, and growing because, as is with White Lion Strong Gym, always building, your nervous system is always growing. It's always noticing new changes in the environment outside of you and within you. And awareness is that tool that we use in the yoga practice to look both out and to look back in. So your own growing awareness of your nervous system gives you an empowered sense of where you're at, both physically, mentally, emotionally, both in yourself and out in the world. So this 2-hour workshop will strengthen your ability to identify where you are, both in yourself and in the world. And it's a lot easier to find your way when you know where you are. So the 4 key concepts that we'll be discussing inside of this workshop are regulation. Regulation is the state of being calm, relaxed, secure. Your parasympathetic nervous system, which is the safety part of your nervous system, is activated and present. Second key concept is resilience. Resilience is continuously seeking out safety in the environment rather than threat. Rhythm is your whole body. The whole natural world is designed off of rhythms, and being able to listen and tune into those gets your nervous system kind of moving with the waves. And then finally, resonance. And resonance is a core feeling in the nervous system, which feels like the feeling of not being alone. And whether that comes from reading something that, that somebody else has experienced that you have too, whether it comes from someone sharing a story of something that is, has also had a similar experience, that feeling of not aloneness is an important element in the nervous system. Doing anything for the first time is a little bit intimidating. So this 2-hour workshop was set in the framework that it is a little bit more casual. It's super relaxed. You get to talk with the people next to you. You get to ask questions to me. And all of the movements that we'll be practicing are going to be simple enough that your 7-year-old child could do it and your 70-year-old grandmother could also do them too. So please fear not the practice of something new, because this workshop is designed for you.